Hello, my little yarnivores and spiderettes and arachnids. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. And today I'm going to show you how to crochet this really lovely lacy shawl. This is the Butterfly Stitch Prayer Shawl. And I love this. Absolutely love it. And you have all these little holes making the shapes of little butterflies. It's so cute and perfect for spring. So I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to do this right now. And so for this example, I used Karen Big Cakes in the colorway of Cake Roll. And I thought that this would look lovely, and I wasn't disappointed when I tried it. Now I only used one skein for this shawl. You might want to use two for, a bit more of a substantial shawl, but I think that it worked out just fine. The length of it was about fingertip to fingertip for me, so I think it's very nice. And, you can use, self-changing colorways of yarn or variegateds. I just love it, absolutely. And also, I used for this piece a size I 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You can use whatever hook size goes with, your weight of yarn, matter of personal preference, of course. And I did a very simple edging border, very, very simple. You can do whatever it is that you like. Also, I'm going to post a link to the pattern in the description box down below. So without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, row 1. Now for this example, I'm using Vanna's Choice by Lion Brand in the colorway of Terracotta. Just for this example, I'm using the same 5.5 millimeter eye hook for this piece. You can use, as I've always said, whatever it is that works for you. Now, so to begin with, for row 1, we're going to start with, of course, a slip knot. Big shocker, right? And we are going to chain up 4. Now the pattern calls for chaining 6 and doing a slip stitch into the first chain to make a circle. However, you know me, I like to do things a little bit differently. So we're going to start by chaining 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to be working into that first chain as if it were a ring. Personally, I find that this looks a little bit neater in the long run. All right, so now we're going to do another 5 more double crochets into that first chain for a total of 6 double crochets. So going right into that first chain with a double. And got a total of 3 because that first 3 chains counts as a double. So we've got 3. We need 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and that, simply enough, is the end of the first row. You need a total of 6 double crochets, okay? And quite simply, you can just cinch that nice and tight and sew in your end when you're ready to do so. Personally, I think it looks a lot neater this way as opposed to a ring that you have to cinch up even more so, all right? So that's the end of row 1. All right, row 2. So for row 2, we're going to start by chaining up 3. 1, 2, 3. Turn the work. And into that first stitch, we're going to add 2 more double crochets for a total of 3, like so. Then into the next stitch, 3 more double crochets. We're not going to chain. We're just going to go right in to that second stitch with 3 doubles. If I can get all of my plies of yarn, that would be fabulous. There we go. 1, 2, and 3, all into that same stitch. So now we have a total of 6. Then into the next stitch, going to do yet another 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. All right, so that's our halfway mark. Now, going to continue right along with 2 chains. And we're going to finish the rest of this row by doing the same thing. So it's going to be into this next stitch, 3 doubles. 1, 2, 3. Into the next stitch, 3 doubles. 1, 2, and 3. And then finally, now this one can be a little bit tricky, but we can do it. Into this last one, it's the top of this chain that we did. Now it helps if you sort of turn it a little bit so that you can see where you need to work into. A little bit of patience and a little bit of persistence, they go a long way. And I will get it, trust me. Come on. There we go. See, right into there, 3 doubles. So it's 1, and 2, and 3. All right. And that is the end of the second row. Okie dokie. All right, so one last step for row 2, which they recommend in the instructions. So I'm going to mention it here, in case if you want to do so as well. So what you can do is you need to place markers, okay? And what that entails is when we first started row 2, we had a grouping of 3, then we had another grouping of 3, and a third grouping of 3. Now into the second grouping of 3, into that middle stitch, you want to place a marker. Now, you can use one of those little rings that can open and close, or you can use a little scrap of yarn, which I always find preferable because I always have a scrap of yarn. So into that middle stitch of the second grouping of 3, just put a little bit of yarn there. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So into that middle grouping of 3, into the middle stitch of the middle grouping of 3, like so. Just going to get a little scrap of yarn, pop that in there, and that will hold our place. Okay, so this is optional. I would not say it's required, but it might make it a little bit easier further down the road, and you'll see. All right, so we're going to get in onto row 3. Alrighty, row 3. So for row 3, we're going to start by chaining up 3, turn the work, and 2 double crochets into that first stitch once again. We're going to be doing a lot of that. Okay, so we've got a nice little grouping of 3. All right, now we're going to chain 7 and skip 7 stitches, and we're going to do a double crochet into the last before the chain 2 space that we did on the previous row. So, getting right into it, chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and then skipping 7 stitches, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That fourth one is where we have our marker, 5, 6, 7, And then on that 8th one, that last one right before the 2 chains, do a double crochet. Like so. Now this looks a little bit wonky, to be sure, but it will make sense later. Trust me. I don't think I've ever steered you wrong yet, right? All right, so then into the chain 2 space, okay, we are going to do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into this chain 2 space. Okay, so we have our anchor here, and then it's 2 doubles, into the chain 2 space. So we've got a total of 3. We started with 3, and then we end with 3 for this side here. Okay, and chain 2, and into that chain 2 space, 2 more double crochets. 1 and oops. Hello. All right, I got 1. And then our second one. There we go. Then into the first double crochet stitch here, we're going to do our 3rd. So we have our 2 groupings of 3, and in that center chain 2 space, it's 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 doubles, and then into that first double crochet stitch, a double crochet stitch. Now, same as on this side, we're going to chain 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we need to again skip 7 of these double crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, where we have our marker, 5, 6, 7, and we need to work into this last chain here, 3 double crochets. And be sure that you are going into the very last chain, otherwise it's going to mess up your count. So we've got 1, and 2, and 3, all into that last chaining up double crochet. All right, I'll just lay it out for you so that you can see what it is that I am talking about. And like I said, I know this looks a little bit weird, but it will make sense as we go on. You know, we've got these big old loops here. Well, these are going to be our butterfly wings, okay? So we will get there. So that's the end of row 3. All right, and we shall continue on with row 4. All right, row 4. So, as we did previously, we're going to start by chaining up 3 and turn the work. And again, into this first stitch, 2 double crochets for a total of 3 at the very end, like so. And then into the next 2 stitches, 1 double crochet in each. So we went from 3 to 5 on the end here, okay? Then we are going to again do 7 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, because we need to bridge this gap that we have here. And then into these 3 double crochets, 1 double crochet into each. So that's 1, 2, 2, and 3. All right. Now into the center point, we're going to do the exact same thing as we did on the previous row. So that is into the center space, the chain 2 space, 2 double crochets, chain 2, and also into that same space, 2 more double crochets. Like so. And then into the next 3 double crochets, 1 in each, as far as double crochets go. So that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, and we reached our gap, so we need to chain 7 once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, whoop, and 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, okay. Just making sure. All right, so then we need to go and do a double crochet into each of these 2, and then 3 in the last. So going right in with a double crochet, and then another one, and then into this last one, this last chaining up of 3, 3 doubles. And yes, it can be a little bit fiddly and a little bit tricky, but just be patient. Patient and persistent. So that's 1 and 2 and 3. So we ended with 5. At our top, we have 5. Our other one, 5. And at our beginning, 5. It's all about symmetry. So now we have some more gaps going on here. And like I said, these will make sense as we go on. Trust me. All right, so that is the end of row 4. Alrighty, row 5. So for row 5, we're going to do something a little bit different. What else is new, right? So we're going to start by chaining up 3, turn the work into this first stitch, 2 double crochets, because we need our 3 at the end. Okay, so we have 4 more double crochets. So in the first 3, we're going to do 1 in each. So that's 1 double, 2 doubles, 3 doubles. However, this last one, this 4th one before our gap, 2 doubles into that same stitch. So that's 1 and 2. Now, here's where things get a little bit different. All right, we're going to chain 2, and this is where our marker comes into play. Now, like I said, ultimately you really don't need it. However, it does help. So we are now going to do a treble crochet into that stitch, and we're going to capture these 2 bars here. Now, this is going to seem a little bit weird, a little bit awkward, but with a little bit of practice, a little bit of patience, you will get these stitches very consistently over time. Trust me. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do a treble crochet. So we're yarning over twice, and we're going to go into that stitch down here, going from the front into that stitch. Okay, and I'm going to pull out my yarn because I don't need it anymore. So going into that stitch, and we're going to capture these two bars. So pulling that yarn over and capturing them, and then pull through two, pull through two, and pull through two. And as you can see, I have captured the bars into that stitch. Okay, and I'm going to be doing this plenty of times. Don't you worry. It will make more sense, okay, over time. All right, so I captured those. In fact, I'm going to do it once again, just because. All right, so I did my 2 doubles into that one stitch, chain 2, yarning over twice, and then going into the center, that stitch right there, going in right there, and then just capturing all of the bars, pull over 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and the bars are captured. Okay, then we chain 2 again, and into that first double crochet after the gap, 2 doubles, okay, and then into the remaining stitches, we're going to do a double in each. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to do yet again the same thing into this center chain 2 space of 2 double crochets, chain 2, and 2 double crochets, come on, there we go. Then a double crochet into each of these doubles, with the exception of the last one where we do 2 into that same stitch. Okay, we reached the last one, so we need to do 2 doubles into this stitch right here. Like so. And now we need to do the treble crochet into this stitch right here. Okay, so we need to first chain 2 and yarning over twice, going down into this stitch like so, going into that stitch and grabbing all of the previous bars, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we've grabbed the bars. We can pull out our scrap yarn, chain 2, and into that first double, 2 double crochets, okay, and then 1 regular double into the next 3, 1, 2, 3, and then into this last chain up that we did, into that third top chain, 3 double crochets, just as we have been. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so Now, it'll make more sense if I actually hold it upside down, because as you can see now, we have, let me just scooch this tail side, I'm sorry. We now have a butterfly, because that treble cinched everything together and connected it, so that acts sort of like the spine of the butterfly, and we got these beautiful wings, and this is just such a lovely pattern that it really showcases what you can do with negative space. All right, so that is the end of row 5. All right, row 6. So for row 6, again, we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to start by chaining up 2. 1 and 2. Turn the work. And into this first stitch, we're going to do a half double right into here. This very first stitch, we're going to do a half double. And that is actually what we're going to be doing for the rest of this row, just half doubles. So just yarn over, pull through all 3, yarn over, pull through all 3. And this sort of solidifies the pattern a little bit. Just all half double crochets. All right, and then when you reach the chain 2 space, quite simply, just do 2 half doubles into the space, into that chain 2 space, like so. Then a half double into this treble, and then another 2 half doubles into this chain 2 space. Okay, and then just keep moseying along until we reach the center point. And this, quite simply, is the basis for the rest of the pattern. Now, excuse me. Now the rest of the pattern I'm going to do in a part 2 of this video. All right, so we reached the center space. You know, we did all of these half doubles into that center space, that chain 2 space. When you've reached that, into the space you do a half double, chain 2, and another half double. All into that chain 2 space. So it's into the space, half double, chain 2, half double, and then proceed down this side doing your half doubles. Yeah, the repeat for this shawl is rows 7 through 10, and I'm going to do that on a separate video for you, because that way I can do the repeat and do a repeat of the repeat, because I really want to make sure that you have it, but I wanted to divide up the pattern after this row because I think that would be a good place to do it. All right, so I've reached the chain 2 space, so another 2 half doubles into that space right there, and then a half double into the treble, and then 2 half doubles into this chain 2 space. Okay, and then half doubles to the end, but being sure that when you reach the very last one, that you do as we did before. When we started, we did a half double into the first, so that's actually an increase So we need to do the same thing on this side. So we've reached our chain 3 at the very end, as you can see. So we need to do 2 half doubles, because when we started, the chain 2 acts as a half double, then a half double into that same stitch. So into this top chain 3 right here, we need to do 2 half doubles. So that is 1 and 2. Okay, so yes, my dears, we have finished the foundation for our shawl. Very lovely, I might say. And I do say. All right, so that is the foundation, and so please stay tuned for when I post part 2 of this so that you can really get a grasp of how this pattern will continue, okay? So if you like this video, please hit that little thumbs up button down below. Your support means ever so much to me, as always. I do thank you so very much. And if you have any questions, comments, what have you, please do so in the little comments section down below. And also, especially if you want to see part 2, please hit subscribe so that way you will be informed when it comes out. So until next time, I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, and above all, stay stitching. I love you guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye for now.